So we are about to jump on a sales call with a client looking to purchase some multifamily, I think specifically in Maryville. So figured we would do a video where you could see what a conversation with me is like on a sales call, so that way you maybe are not as fearful to joining a call like this. There's no hard closing, just conversation, trying to learn if we're a good fit, if they're a good fit for us. And honestly, they can kind of feel me out and get a pulse on my experience and how our team operates. I think Stonebrook, we manage properties significantly different than other property managers because we have a full staff over the whole property compared to just one person paying attention to billing, maintenance, and leasing and thinking that's going to work out well. The typical old-fashioned broker style where you have one property manager over an entire property. It works when it works, but oftentimes employees come and go. That data and information that they have in their head oftentimes leaves the brokerage. So then you're left in the dark as the landlord and as the business owner of that property management company, and you're not able to service that client. They get nervous. Oftentimes they call me. We take on that contract because of the consistency that we're providing from systems and just how our infrastructure is laid out. So again, we kind of go over that, make sure people are comfortable with how we do things differently, because sometimes people don't want to work with someone that operates like Stonebrook. So let's jump on. I'm going to give him a ring and make sure he's okay with the sales call being recorded, put on YouTube, and here we go.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. Is it okay if I record this call?
Yeah, sure.
I'm actually gonna, if you're okay with it, I'm gonna film a little bit of a YouTube video on me on this call, so that way people can see what it's like to talk to me.
Sure.
Sounds good. Well, nice to meet you, and it looks like you're looking at buying that 18 unit with John, aren't you?
Correct.
Cool. Well, have you purchased in Knoxville already, or is this a new market for you?
Would be a new market. I mean, the closest one to you would be Memphis.
Okay. Cool. Well, we just hit our 255th unit this month.
Nice.
So that's kind of our volume, and we have 7 staff members, including me, that service those units, and I'll be hiring more team members because I definitely want to make sure our service quality stays the same since we've started a few years ago. So we're basically finishing up our staff. We've completed that probably 6 months ago was our last time we hired anybody, but the goal is to kind of double, go from the 250 to the 500 in the next year to 2 years responsibly. Nice. And then keep kind of chugging along. What questions do you have for me? It can be on our property management or it can be just on that specific property.
Well, I mean, for starters, right, the 7 staff, is that to take care of maintenance issues, or do you usually, or do you have that sent out?
Yeah, so maintenance, we do have in-house coordinators. We do third-party vendors at all times for everything. So I just have never figured out a way to make it make sense and actually even cut a deal for landlords to make them save money. So us negotiating with third-party has saved everyone money, and I don't upcharge any maintenance at all.
Okay. So there's nothing on top of
right
whatever it is, labor and materials.
Correct. And with our handyman, we have about 8 of them that we kind of rotate around, and we do drop-in interviews 3 times a year with just Facebook groups and just trying to get to know those mom and pop guys that want to, that side gig money, because that's
nice.
Where you're trying to get the competitive rates with hopefully somebody that knows what they're doing, right?
Of course.
So the rate we're typically offering is $50 an hour and then $35 for drive time, because we do manage a big territory, so we want to make sure that they're not getting hurt but also not charging us full hourly rate for driving.
So, okay, so you said 30 for driving.
Yeah, 35 for driving. And again, these are like numbers we're suggesting and we're trying to hold people to. Oftentimes, sometimes they come in less, sometimes they come in more, and that's when we have to go and nurture more relationships. And that's, to me, why we kind of stand out and why John's kind of pushing our name more recently than ever, because
Nice.
we actually kind of give a crap. I will say we do own a turnover business that will give you competitive quotes, and we do make profit there between the tenants moving in and out. But you're more than welcome to, get your own quote, or if you have preferred vendors, like most guys that are in town might want to work with this HVAC guy or this electrician or this plumber, and we lock those in and make sure we use them. Maintenance to me is somewhere where I can lose more customers than make profit. So I really just try to play ball there and operate in your best interest. And when people have their own vendors, I get excited because it means they can get angry at those people. So
That's nice.
that's like right now we're dealing with that in East Knoxville. I got a tenant that an outlet blew a fuse, it caught on fire, and it's turning into a bigger and bigger and bigger bill. But luckily, it's with the vendor that landlord trusts and wants to use, and it's turning into $4,500 of something that I'm not going to get blamed for. So
Beautiful.
I will take that because it's more expensive to try to go make $100 on it and then have a landlord be angry that I'm making money on a day they're losing and all the rest. So I do the Rent Ready Boys, which is the business for the, cleaning up the unit, painting a couple walls, fixing a door handle, and getting it turned over for photography, just because we're at the property doing those inspections, and then we also can condense the work into like typically one or two vendors compared to like three or four, because
Right.
best case scenario you have one guy paint, clean, pull garbage, and repair something, and that's four vendors in one that you can hopefully condense that cost down, and then we can, that's where we can find a margin and still provide a savings for you. But again, we're not doing that on every turn because some landlords have their own guys, so we just keep it moving. We will do the move-in and move-out inspection included in our management, and we also will do the lease renewal. So
Okay.
those are like the 3 times we're at a property physically. We will do showings all in person, so I do not have a single contract where we're doing like lockbox showings and
Okay.
virtually doing that. So we have a physical showing agent at the property at all times for any private and or any type of additional inspection. Like if you're looking for a mid-lease or anything like that, I just charge, like for this we can run a deal because it's all in one location, but typically it's like $150 a door. With an 18 unit all in one place, I wouldn't charge that. But it's like if you were a single family, that would be the cost for me to go in and do it. Typically, we can reduce that price if you want that service for $30 to $40 a unit, and then we just knock them all out at once. That's about as cheap as I can go, but also like you got to know if it's worth your time to even want to pay for it, because the reality is when you're in that C-class type property and you own it, and you're already dealing with, turnovers when people are surprising you with, my family member moved to Florida, I'm going with her. Because, these people might not have as stable as a career as you or I have. They'll just up and leave. And so with that, it's like you're eating your fruits and vegetables in multifamily C-class is doing the inspections mid-lease, but then also standing by a standard that you want to have. And honestly, sometimes that digs into your cash flow. And right now, with things that are tight in the market, you might not want to eat your vegetables and fruits right now. That's just like full transparency. Because if they're paying and we're doing the lease renewal inspection, which is every year, because we're typically signing a 12-month lease. So we're going in there, and if we rated a 7 out of 10 stars, we're going to move forward and just keep moving forward. And that 7 out of 10 stars is kind of like based on the person walking it saying, yeah, it's clean enough. They're not, creating a bug infestation or a mold issue that's like going to depreciate this property in a
Turn
non
into something bigger.
yeah. So past that, we can lock some units every 6 months, and you're going to be like, well, it's Christmas. I don't really want to have a vacancy for 45 days and also take on let's say a $3,500 turn. I'd rather collect the $1,200 in rent for the next 45 days. So it's like, I'm just realistic with that,
Of course.
So that's just kind of up to you, and we would not move forward with those unless you told us to do it. And in our contract, unless you wanted to have it because you were like, I'm going into this knowing I want this mid-lease inspection, I probably wouldn't even include it. If you don't know if you want it yet, we would just add it at a later date. Just like a vendor going out for a plumbing call. It's like, oh, we're just another vendor. We'll charge you that, and we'll keep moving forward.
Okay. No, I mean, usually I usually don't do anything mid lease. Most of the time, as usually at the turn. I mean, if they have issues, they would just call in and we take care of it. And then once they depart, if they choose to depart or whatever the case is, we would just make the turn, see if we can make any updates or what we can do to bring it up to market. Yeah. And we go from there. I mean, that's kind of also my plan for this property is to there's right now I think three vacant, or to be actually 2 vacant, with 2 of them are in eviction proceedings, which it's fine. And then once they get empty, we would spruce it up and then see if actually one of the tenants that's already there on a lower rent, see if they want to upgrade, and if they do, we spruce up the one that they get out of, and so forth and so on. And if they don't, we just get somebody in from the outside.
Yep. I've given John the numbers I believe that can be executed there for the 1-bed, 1-baths, 2-bedroom, 1-baths, and 2-bedroom, 2-baths. I don't know if he sent it to you, but the 1-bed, 1-baths will range from $950 a month to $1,025. The 2-bedroom, 1-baths, $1,075 to $1,200, and then the 2-bedroom, 2-baths, $1,100 to $1,250. And I stand by that and say, if you do renovate them, I would still expect just the higher end of these numbers, not like an additional value.
Right.
When you renovate them, we'll bank on the higher number, and we will bank on it happening faster because of more demand.
Right.
As in, like, time on market would be shorter.
All right. That works.
Other than that, though, like, did I send you my YouTube channel? Because that does help out a lot.
Yes, I did. I took a look. I saw a few videos.
Cool. That kind of helps people get to know us more than others, and it's kind of why I do it.
Very nice. No, absolutely. Those were the ones I saw were very nice. I didn't have a chance to look through all of them, but the ones I saw were very nice.
Other than that, I don't do any lease renewal fees. So no one that I manage for do I charge more than the average management fee monthly when I go do those inspections. We also do not have maintenance upcharges, like I've said before. So we really just come down to an onboarding fee, a leasing fee, and a management fee. Those are like the 3 major things. And with the John connection, I waive the onboarding fee because I like to give realtors some value to
That's nice.
Normally I charge $250 for the first 5 units, and then I see it as kind of like a loyalty purchase of like, hey, you believe in me, I believe in you, I'm gonna do this, because it's a lot of work to onboard a property.
Right.
But with that, we just waive it so that we don't do 250 times 18 because that's a lot of money, but usually we do the first 5 until someone's really onboarded. So the 1,250 we waive, and at that point you just come down to 2 things, which is your management and your leasing. And so with the management, I kind of, for these types of properties, I know they are loud and they also don't pay well on a cash basis for management. That because the average rent is going to be around, let's say if we crush it, 1,200.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so even at 10%, you're at $120 of true revenue as a manager, where single family house that's $2,200 to rent, you have an A class 800 credit tenant. The plumbing was just built 2 years ago because it's a DR Horton. Hopefully, those are built okay. We all have our opinions. But that really quiet unit will pay the $220, $240 a month and not cause our staff a ton of labor hours, where yours will have quite a bit of labor hours. We will drop off on the 10th of the month each month a 14-day notice to anyone that's even $1 behind, because C class needs that type of a leash. And so we're going out there for those types of activities and not billing you extra, and dropping those letters off in person and communicating with that. So all to say, I kind of got two options. I can have you choose which one you like more. Number one, it's a 10% management, and then I would offer 50% leasing fee, so only half of a month's rent when we market it, do the in-person showings and fill it. Or we go 100% leasing fee and we go 8% management. And it kind of gives you do you want to win when it's vacant and not pay as much on the turns of, finding a tenant and doing all that? Or do you want to win monthly when it's occupied and is, cash flowing, and you're gaining another 2% back monthly?
Right.
And it's on the number side, it's a gamble, because it's just how many turnovers do you have versus how stabilized is the property.
Right. I mean, ultimately, what I'm going for is, right, to get it into a point where it would be nice enough to be able to get the higher rents, and nice enough so people wouldn't necessarily leave every year.
Yeah, I do a lot of this type of property. You know what I mean? Like, I have these in Knoxville. I have these in Maryville, actually. And the thing is we do get them to calm down. It can take up to a year.
Right.
Certainly. Sometimes I get lucky and it's like, okay, there was just like 3 problem tenants and we got them to move on, or we've gotten them in shape because they've understood there's a pretty clear line, black and white, in what we do. I will say that we're on the subject, I do charge the $400 for evictions, and I would charge that the day we file a detainer warrant is the day I charge that. I do not charge that just to go out there and be like, yo, you got 14 days to pay or get out.
Right.
That's not how that works. So it's just once we file a detainer, there's not a lot of going back and negotiating at that point. It's, hey, this is moving forward. I got to be in court as a witness to say that the lease ledger is accurate with the attorney, and then you do eat the attorney costs as well. But typically I partner with a collections agency that covers most of that attorney fee, because they're trying to gain that collections account on the back end. If you paid $1,000 for everything out the door, court costs, us, and an attorney, that would be probably accurate, if not like aggressively quoting you for what it's going to cost you. It'll be under $1,000.
Okay, so an average eviction usually would come out to about $1,000.
Yeah, that's super safe to say. And then we'll gain that deposit back, and then that's when we'll use all of it for the recovery and repairing.
Whatever,
yeah, that and or the lost rent, because you're kind of, whatever it is.
I mean, right. Usually, how long does that process usually take?
In Maryville, I like Maryville, but it is the one I had someone give a tenant a little bit more grace than I've ever seen before just recently. So, but at the same time, I walked into court just 2 weeks ago on the judgment of the debt, and I was like, the judge was like, what is the $6,000 the majority of? I'm like, oh, it's just rent. I mean, it was just a really expensive unit, and the lady's dad got sick, and the income started dropping, and they hunkered down pretty hard in the property, and they were just like, okay, boom, and judgment was made, and $6,000 went to collections, and it'll start getting garnished probably in the next few months, based on she does have a position, she does have a normal career that will be able to collect that. But long story short, for the eviction, you give out that 14-day notice. That was on the 10th. So now you're like the 24th day of the month from the 1st. Now you go file a detainer warrant. It's really just when the court has room, which is roughly within 4 weeks' time. And then from that point, wait for the sheriff to reach out, which is another 10 days, because they kind of give, after that judgment has been made and you haven't gained possession, but you've won possession.
Right.
They give the tenant some time to reasonably exit the property. If they don't, which oftentimes they don't, and I oftentimes just wait that 10 days to then have the sheriff come out with us. We change the locks and they give us possession in hand. At that point, it's done and we're cooking for the turnover and getting it prepped and marketed.
Okay, so about 2 months, give or take.
Yeah, give or take. Definitely 2 months.
All right, so that's not too bad.
I mean,
here
it's
in New York, you're happy with 3, but usually it goes longer.
yeah. I mean, it's not even about like the winning will happen. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
like you're gonna win. It's not a, oh my gosh, are they just gonna like be able to stay there forever? Like all these people from California that are nervous. It's just how much time do we have to wait till we get our time in front of the judge is the question. And
Right. Okay.
I've never seen that go past 4 to 6 weeks. And then after that, you got 10 days and you're done. But
Nice.
from when you file a detainer warrant to when you get in front of the judge, that's like the question. But that's
the wait. Yeah.
that's not going 2 or 3 months. That's just 4 to 6 weeks at longest.
No, it's not bad at all.
And when you go, especially like in Knox County and in Maryville, it's like going to traffic court. I don't know. I've gotten a speeding ticket before, so I know what it's like. But basically, you show up, you're with a whole bunch of other people in the same boat, and they just start ripping out these cases because they're like, who's here, who's not. If the defendant's not here, which is the tenant, it's just default. Boom, boom, boom. Now they can call in and cause some chaos to say, oh, well, I was not able to make it because, blah, 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 and then it can get delayed to the next date. I've seen that happen, but like not often because typically in the C-class properties, they don't understand how to go about managing even knowing that they had court. So typically, it's not my job as the plaintiff to make sure they're there. And
yeah, no, of course.
So that's kind of how that works. But in the A-class properties with people that will Google and start learning and start trying to figure out their rights, yeah, I mean, they can drag some things out. But I've never really had a professional tenant myself, and I've been managing for a few years now.
All right. That's very nice.
Yeah. But either way, yeah, man, like we're definitely excited to help, and I like these kind of properties because I know that they do take effort, and it's where the value can come in and hopefully shine, and then you can get more comfortable buying more of them and keep scaling.
Keep going, yeah. All right, awesome. And usually, how long would you need to get everything up and running?
So the number one thing that I would suggest is always having us come in mid-month, because you don't want to confuse your tenants of where is rent getting paid. And so, if you come in right on the last end of the month or the very first, some people are behind, some people have already paid, and you're going to have a situation where you might not collect all of the accounts receivable. So basically the 15th of the month is a great time for us to swing in, drop off the letters and say, hey, we're the new management company, and we onboard all the tenants onto our portal. They can, at that point, we typically see a lot of maintenance requests, which turn into, we kind of slow it down, and especially with new landlords with our company, we're like, hey, these are all the complaints. What do you want to do? Because changing of the guard does that. And from there, they have a full 2 weeks to be onboarded and pay rent into our system, so there's really not as many errors. Sometimes we have like a banking issue and it's on a tenant side where they've never done ACH before, so their bank is flagging the large $1,200 payment, and so then there's a delay there. But socially, like the communication between us and tenant, they don't really have an excuse because we've reached out to them by phone, by mail,
Right.
in front of them, and it goes pretty smooth. And I've done 76 doors in 1 month before. So that was the hardest onboarding I've ever done, because that was across Knoxville. It wasn't one property.
Okay. Okay.
15th of the month is a good time, though. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Okay. So once we get a potential closing date, I get in touch with you. We get and we start drafting paperwork. Is that about right?
Yeah, I mean, we can basically get an onboarding form. We send out a link. It's on the internet. You basically fill it out. It gives us all the details, the utilities, and like what the property is, what the makeup is, just all your opinions and how you want things ran. And then we send out a management agreement to sign, and then we're on standby to onboard from there.
All right, awesome. And just out of curiosity, what do you think about the area there with?
So you are across the street from some nice A-class properties. Your Maryville in general has always had a lot of demand, and honestly would rent faster than my Knoxville units, oddly enough. I don't know, like, if I just didn't have enough data to see the reality, but like, man, we fill the Maryville ones up fast. However, A-class properties are getting built like crazy in that area, and a lot of times their move-in specials are getting people that are our customer to then go move in there instead of ours. So that's why the numbers I give you don't really go over the 1,200 mark, because if you had low credit, you knew the A-class property would take you, and you don't really care about your credit because you already have low credit, would you rather move in somewhere and only owe $1,400 or $2,400? Because I'm going to ask $2,400 because I want a matching deposit from that tenant. But these massive hedge funds that have the management companies coming in and doing like free first month's rent, $150 deposit, like approving 500 credit and up, which we will definitely entertain as well for the C-class. However, like basically while those A-class are highly vacant because they just finished up being built, they do steal a lot of customers. And then they should even out and stop bothering the C-class tenant and allow us to have our customer back. Went a summer seeing that and still performing and getting units rented in roughly 4 weeks. The last 65 leases I have done are on an average 29 days on market.
No, that's not bad. Very nice.
So I'm doing another video on that this week, where it's like, we have a full-time showing agent, but my showing agent doesn't do anything other than show. Then I have a leasing assistant that nurtures all the leads to generate the bookings for the showings and the applicants and the leases. So it's like we have boots on the ground moving, and then we have somebody behind a computer able to nurture, and that's what kind of generates a better return on leads inbound to an actual contract lease. And then I will, worst case scenario, bump it up on Facebook, because a lot of C-class goes pretty well on Facebook. It sucks, but for me, because I have to do it on my personal Facebook, but it is what it is. It gets it gone.
All right.
So it's just the reality of managing these dang properties.
Of course. I mean, thank you very much. I think that just about covers everything.
Yeah, just give me a text if you have anything else, and I can answer anything. It's no big deal. And then we'll just be on standby for I don't even know if you're under contract or putting an offer in or whatever. But
the offer's in. The offer's in. We're just waiting on, for them to accept it,
cool.
or not. I mean, and on the lender side, waiting to get back from them, but everything should be fine on that end.
Sweet, man. Well, congrats. Hopefully they'll accept it. They better, because it's a tough time of year to sell something. So you better be aggressive on them and make your money and start creating that net worth a little bit higher. Yes, indeed. All right, man. Well, I appreciate the call, and we'll we'll wait to hear from you, and then we'll take action.
Absolutely. Thank you again, and yeah, we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So there you have it. Live phone call. That's how it goes every single time. Just kind of try to teach about who we are, try to figure out their goals, expectations, give our average performance so that way the expectation is super clear, because I think property management overall is about expectation. If you can sell somebody on the accuracy of what you're going to do and then go do it, then there's not as many complaints or people upset or confused on, a year in what they paid for. And I've learned that, the hard way. I've plenty of times when I first started, you overpromise. You say, I'm gonna make sure rent comes in on time. I'm gonna make sure this and that. It's like, you can't control other people. You can only control what you promise. So overpromising something is just silly, because you're gonna have lower retention of clients, and property management is all about having high retention of customers so you can keep scaling and building, and just making sure what you've promised is what every customer gets out the door. And so we sell like average time on market for the properties we're going to lease. We sell accurate numbers we think the property will rent for. And we also sell how maintenance works before someone gets onboarded. That way they know what they're paying for, and I know what I got to do to keep them happy. Property management, the industry is just, every phone call is a bad phone call. A landlord's upset. I'm calling them because they're getting bad news. A vendor calls us, a tenant calls us for bad news, or they're upset. So you're constantly trying to make sure this highly emotional environment stays with relatively clear expectations, and then follow through with the plan, whether that be how you treat a tenant, a vendor, or a client. So again, if you're watching this video, thanks. This is, I managed 255 units. Hopefully these 18 come in a couple months and we can keep scaling and growing. I'm going to leave the Calendly link for my personal calendar here down below in the description. That way you can join this type of a call for yourself, and it'll appear right here on my calendar on my computer. I'll sit here. We can or cannot record it depending on what you want. And I will be honest, I will drop off a 14-day notice if I haven't already to you. Boom.